But anyway, we'll move on to our last anime of the evening, episode 8 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. So they all walk through the mansion, the Kagemori clan with Yuru and left and right and Dara, and the mansion is all broken from fighting. But Hagude fixes it with his daemons black and white, and he calls them Ink and Whiteout. And Hagude is a mangaka, and Hagude is his pen name, and his real name is Kagemori Hikaru. He says that the Kagemoris are shady as fuck, so he uses a pen name to avoid controversy, and he's the oldest brother. Asuma is the middle, and that's the butterfly guy that wanted to hang out with them, and then they were just like, fuck no, and he was like, all right, see you later. And Jin, who is the youngest, and they all have different mothers, and Asuma says Hagude is the next head of the clan, and Hagude is like, nah, man, I just want to draw me some manga.
Oh yeah, amen, brother.
So basically, he's walking around the broken up mansion, and he's just like, Shwah! And he basically swipes his hand, and then it just like fucking fixes everything. He's like redrawing the page or whatever. Mm-hmm. Dara is like, everything you fixed is monochrome, and Hagude is like, it's aight. The colors will bleed into it eventually, and it will go back to normal. And then Hagude notices he made everything too good, and it should be beat up more. They go to have breakfast, and a bunch of Daemons bring in breakfast, and then Jin grills Dara about the attack and how the timing is too convenient. And Dara is like, man, I don't know shit. Hey, Asa, are they treating you well here? And she's like, yeah, they good. And they all talk about how Asa doesn't leave the mansion because it's too dangerous. And she had to go to the hospital once and was attacked by assassins. Dara's like, man, I didn't do that shit either. But hey, what do you do for health insurance? I got to figure something out for you to. And Asa says she's not registered either because her parents disappeared. Dara's like, shit, you do that true? And he's like, I don't know, I guess so. And Dara says he doesn't know anything about it and doesn't think it was Higashi. Gonzo is like, you expect us to believe that shit? And Dara says he doesn't agree with the extremists, and how do we know the Kagemoris didn't do it? What do you want with the twins? Gonzo says the world is better off without Break or Seal, and Yuru and Asa should be the last twins, and to get rid of Higashi Village, who creates them. And Higashi is an outdated village that's trying to conquer the world. Asuma chimes in and says he disagrees, and that people chosen with power should govern the world peacefully, and we shouldn't destroy Higashi, we should control it.
So real quick, I do want to say I like this dynamic already because it shows the three sides of like, hey, you have power, you should govern well and take care of others. Even though Asuma obviously we've seen is like a little shady, but we get that from the Kagemori clan anyway. And then you have the thought process from the Kagemori head of Gonzo, who's like, they shouldn't exist, they're too powerful in general. And then you have Yuru, who's like, I just want to live. Like, don't worry about us. Let us live our lives. And you have the separate to that, which is the Higashi village, which wants to use them. So, like, Kagemori and Higashi are the two sides of the same coin, whereas you have the other who want them to use their power for good, and the other ones that just want to live, which is Yuru. And I already like this dynamic a lot.
Yeah, it brings some contrast where, like, I don't think any of them are necessarily wrong. It kind of brings that idea, like if you were in some sort of choices matter game, you would have to choose, like, do we let them live? And, you know, they have their powers. Do we kill them because they're too strong? Or do we control them and then, you know, use their powers
Problem.
We haven't heard what Jin believes yet. We've only heard what Gonzo, Asuma, and Yuru believe. Everyone else was pretty quiet during this whole discussion at breakfast here, except Asa, which I'll get to in a second. Again, we're getting like drip fed the breadcrumbs. And as I said, like last episode, I feel like this anime has the breadcrumbs, but we don't necessarily know what to do with the breadcrumbs yet. And like the breadcrumbs aren't strong enough to where we can start making our own educated predictions on like what exactly is going to happen here. And then now they're adding, you know, a little bit of like seasoning on top of these breadcrumbs and like, ooh, these breadcrumbs look like they got potential. I wonder what they're going to be. So I'm just hoping that they really give us something to combine our breadcrumbs into and
You're
not
using
just
this cooking analogy without saying they're cooking, Greg.
well, not yet. It's definitely in my notes. It is a little slower than I would like. But again, I keep coming back to the fact that this is like a 2-core, 24-episode anime season. So I'm giving them a little bit of leeway here to have more time to develop the story because it's running longer than a standard 12-episode anime for the season. But Yudu is like, left, right, you said we weren't cursed. And that makes me feel good. And who is making Asa apologize for all this shit and making it seem like it's her fault? And why do others get to dictate how we live? And he's like, Dara, I'm about to cook. Let Higashi know this too. I'm not gonna run or hide or sneak around. If you want my head, then come and fucking get it. Asa is like, you're fucking stupid. If you don't want to suffer the same fate as me, then you should run and hide. But right and left are like, nah, man, you do super smart and nice. Guess we have to defend him and fuck people up. Ho, 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 ho. Gabby is like, it doesn't matter. He's basically volunteering to take half our burden from us by himself. But Gonzo is like, don't you want to join the Kagemoris? And he's like, nah, you called my village shit. And while I understand your ideals, I don't accept them. And I'll do things my way or the highway. Asa is like, well, take care of my brother, guys. And she does the super formal deep grovel bow thing. And then they walk them to the entrance. And Asa is like, this is as far as I can take you. I can't leave the barrier because I'll get attacked. Yudu thinks that she's just replaced that cage in the village with this cup of gamer sups that Asa is fucking stuck in, apparently, because she can't leave the fucking village, and you too can be stuck in a cup of gamer sups. And you can use promo code DJ Montague at checkout to save 10% off of your limited edition flavors of fucking
Asa juice and Yuru lemonade.
Sure. And visit gamersups.gg and use promo code DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off of your order.
I don't like how I said that.
And you can also be stuck inside of a delicious caffeinated beverage just like Asa.
Hell yeah. Amen to that.
Man, I'm just fucking up, dude.
I don't know. I think you're doing great, Greg.
No, this is bad. I'm just going to delete this episode, I think.
Okay, Greg, I like what you're doing. Anyways, so
Yudu doesn't think that Asa replaced the village with a cup of gamer sups. Yudu thinks she replaced the cage in the village with this mansion. But Asa is like, oh, hey, look at a picture of our parents on my smartphone before you go. And Yudu and left are like, what the fuck is that thing? Is that a wood block painting? And then Asa takes a selfie with Yudu. And right and left are like, we want a fucking picture too. But Asa is like, Daemons don't show up in pictures, silly. Tricks are for kids.
She says that unless they're like in ghost stories, where it's like a random occurrence where they accidentally like slip into the realm. I would have loved to have seen them like try and power up to be in a picture so that maybe they like disrupt the fucking field of whatever the phone is to try and be in a picture.
Yeah.
I would have liked that, but you know, they have to continue the story.
But Asa is like, I'll print the picture of our parents and send it to you. And Dara is like, nope. No personal identifiable information, you Kagemori fucks, but I think it would be a good idea to contact each other somehow. And Jin gives Dara a business card to a girls bar, which is a Kagemori business. And Dara is like, fuck yeah, time to drink.
This is a girls bar, Greg.
A girls bar is where basically all of the bartenders are girls and the servers are girls, and as you buy drinks they basically come sit down and hang out with you, and then they encourage you to buy more drinks, and then they will also drink, but then it goes on your tab, so you're basically paying for drinking companionship.
Okay, hear me out. This sounds like a strip club without the stripping.
I have personally never been to a girls bar. It's like a fucking maid cafe, but instead of them putting ketchup on your omu rice, they're serving you drinks. Pretty much it's all the same companionship style establishments. But they leave, but Asa says their parents were sad they couldn't take Yudu with them, and Granny got in their way, and Yudu is moved and says that was worth coming here, and leaves. But Asa runs out past the threshold of the barrier and hugs Yudu from behind, and is like, all right, guess I'll see you later. And then she goes back inside. After the gates close, Yudu is like, fuck, I was careless. She got the jump on me. If she was a bear, I would have been dead. But he says that she was definitely the real Asa. Asa is like, Jin, don't tail them. Trust is important. And he's like, yeah, you right. But then cuts to Gonzo and he says break and seal should be governed by a third party. But if someone takes Yudu and the power of seal, there will be no stopping them. And then that's how episode 8 ends. And then, yeah, in the screenshot, we can see the little butterfly, which is Asuma, who is taking it upon himself to silently track our hero.
I think Asuma is trailing them for the sheer fact that he wants to potentially control break and seal. He's saying that he's like, oh, yeah, I think that they should use their powers for good. But what his opinion of good is probably vastly different from everybody else. And he's probably much further along the side of the Kagimoris of using their power for whatever his intentions are, which is two sides of the same coin of what the Kagimoris want, which is they don't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're painting this picture of Asuma. I'm hoping that it's not going to be so transparent because right now it's easy to assume that Asuma is like the bad guy because it was insinuated during the whole fight, like last episode. They're like, Asuma, where were you? He was like, I don't know. I was just fucking sleeping, man.
I'm taking a nap, bro.
And then Jin's like, you have like literally the best hearing, like probably something to do with his Daemons and shit too. And he's like, how did you not know anything was going on? He's like, blah, I don't know. Guess I just fucking fell asleep. Bro. Things aren't looking good for Asuma as a character, right? He obviously has some sort of hidden agenda. Right now, I think it's safe to assume that it's bad, but we'll just see how the story plays out. I don't know. It's okay so far, but you know, it's not like I'm not like super excited for like Daemons of the Shadow Realm. I think it's okay. And it's like I said before, I think it's decent. I think it does a lot of things okay. I think it has a little something for everybody. It has action. It has like some mysterious intrigue. It has a little bit of comedy. It has a lot of things, but I don't think it's doing any one of those things that well that is making me like gravitate towards this anime any more than how I'm gravitating to it now, really.
Yeah, I agree. I like the potential of what the storyline could be, and I'm excited for my triangle theory to come to fruition.
I would have to make an early prediction of this anime, probably what would happen like in the end. Yudu's going to end up getting seal, Asa's going to get break, and then probably like at the end, they're going to make some like mutual sibling dual homicide, like neither of these powers should exist, and then they're going to like go away, and that's what's going to happen probably.
But my theory in the middle is that they finally, Yuru and Asa are going to find their parents. Yuru's going to be like, oh my god, my parents are here. And the villains or whoever used their parents as a device to get Yuru out, and with his defenses down, they'll kill Yuru. That's where he gets his seal. His parents are then potentially killed. Yuru loses his shit and is like, I'm going to topple everything. And then the only person that can stop him is Asa.
Yeah,
they'll
okay.
have their... I don't think they're going to fight so much as they're going to use their powers to cancel each other out and be like, all right, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Part of me too is like, maybe they will live happily ever after because Yudu's desire to like live on his own free will and just survive not being a cursed child or something like that.
Yeah,
like
I'd
maybe
agree.
They'll just become like hermits somewhere, and then Yudu will like seal, which I'll assume is like some sort of barrier, right? He can just seal anything he wants, so he can seal like a portion of the world that they can just live in or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like it's still too early
Solo
to tell.
camping for two.
Yeah.
But it's siblings, I guess. It feels strange that they are siblings. I appreciate that they are, but I'm like close with my sister, but it's also different. I feel like culturally in America, like my sister and I give each other hugs, but we don't have like a camaraderie, what it seems like Yuru and Asa do, where they have like she was in a cage and she touches his back.
Yeah.
That feels almost like, to me, more relationship-esque.
I agree, but then I don't have any personal experience on the dynamic of like a brother-sister relationship and how that really looks.
I will say me and my sister were separated, a separate custody. My mother was with my sister, my father had me. And so when I was like 13 or 14 is when I finally started living with my sister for like 4 or 5 years. And then she was old enough to go like move out on her own. I went on and did my own thing. So like we didn't have that like growing up. Like we lived together probably from when we were like, when I was born to when we were like 8. So that it feels very strange.
Make an anime out of it. That's the only
we have a dope
here.
Story.
I know a lot of people with siblings, like brother, sister, siblings, and I don't think any of their relationships are like this, that is portrayed in this anime here. Again, like probably with Japan, I don't know how that is either. Maybe in America, like we grow up a certain way where that relationship isn't necessarily like as close, just kind of by societal design. So I don't know if this is more relatable to like a native Japanese brother and sister or something like that. I get where you're coming from and I agree with you. But yeah, I mean, we'll just see what the future holds for Daemons of the Shadow Realm. If there is a burn at the end, it's definitely a slow burn so far.
I agree. So hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Anime Book Club podcast. Check us out, theanimebookclub.com. Check us out on Spotify for all the episodes uploaded weekly. Check us out on YouTube, where we have 4 episodes all split up, uploaded nearly every day. And enjoy all of the content that we have available for you guys. More bite-sized content on YouTube, full-size content on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that fun stuff. Like a full-size Snickers versus, the bite size.
So you could eat the whole Snickers and feel bad about yourself, or you can just buy 4 bite-sized ones, which equal a full-size Snicker, and then somehow you feel better about yourself.
Or you eat the full-size Snickers over the course of your workday to give you the energy to continue through your workday, a la listening to the podcast while you're doing work.
You would eat the full-size bar of Snickers, and then after you're finished with that, you would eat all the bite-sized ones too.
Hell yeah. Yes, 100%.
Every day is Halloween.
Exactly what I want.
Just eat all the Snickers.
All right. Thank you to Gamer Sups. Use code DJ Monaguya at checkout for 10% off your order. And thank you to IT Aesthetics, and welcome back, my dudes. Holy shit. It's good to have you back. New drops, the villain arc. All for it. Looks great. A lot of really cool stuff. Tab C10 for 10% off your order there. Or if they have a coupon currently running, Tab C5 at checkout for $5 off your order. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you, Greg. Greg, thank you for taking time out of your busy week to come join in on the festivities.
This is all that I have.
This is all that I have. These are my only moments away from the chaos.
Moral of the story. It's easier to destroy than it is to create. It's easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight. I think if you're trying to achieve those sorts of things and you've already extended yourself to one of the extremes, then don't expect to get back to center faster than it took you to get to the extreme. So if we use the weight example, right? If you gain like a ton of weight, you can't just go to the gym once and then be back to your original weight was at whatever time you're thinking of, like in your head. Gaining all that weight took time. It's not something that happened overnight. And losing all that weight isn't something that would happen overnight either. Understand that just taking one step forward, one step towards your goal, is one step closer than if you didn't take a step at all.
You take one step off the couch, you're lapping everybody that's sitting on the couch, right? Agreed.
Well, you would have to take like 2 steps, because then you would have to get off the couch and then get back on. And that would be like one lap. So if you take 3 steps, then I think you're like fully lapping. If you're taking 1 step, you're definitely ahead.
Right. Okay. Yes, I agree there. But also, Greg is saying that I need to have 22 years of working out in a row to get back to what I looked like.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you can't
like this fat on my body has completely calcified and I need to break it to get it off my body.
I also heard that the way your body expels body fat is 84% CO2. So every time you're ripping them, you're losing weight.
Ripping them what? What?
Keep ripping them.
What do you mean?
Never stop.
Like vaping?
CO2.
Thank you so much, friends, for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate you being here. Always wonderful to see you. Have a wonderful night. Greg, tell them goodbye.
I had a terrible episode today, everyone, but I hope you enjoyed it.
No, Greg, you fucking nailed it. What are you talking about? Don't you fucking dare with that self-deprecating bullshit. Take a step off the couch.
No, after marriage toxin, I just felt like I wasn't as strong as I was before.
Greg,
I'm not saying that I won't become strong again. Everyone can have bad days, and today was one of my bad days. I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm going to come back next week strong as ever. Maybe even stronger.
Comments in the chat about how great Greg is doing, please.
Don't use your keyboards.
That's not what they're there for. They're used for video games. All right, Greg, tell them goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
No, say it like you do it.
Oh, goodbye.
Hey, that kind of works. Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!